Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Time for another countdown video. This one, we're going to be counting down my top 5 favorite JRPGs. And remember, this is just one person's perspective, so don't get mad or upset if your favorite game is on the list or it's ranked kind of low, whatever. It's just an opinion. No need to take it seriously. Too seriously, whatever. So, number 5. Dragon Quest IX, Sentinels of Starry Skies. This may quite possibly be one of the best Dragon Quest games I've ever played. Not the best, but one of the best. And I think this was the last game I bought based off of a TV commercial. I mean, I haven't done that in ages, but whatever. What really had sold me on this is, as you can kind of see on the background, you not only make your own characters, like most Dragon Quest games, well, not most of them, but you can actually customize them completely. Like, you change their hair, their facial features and everything. And not to give too much away in case you haven't played it, the main character, we'll just say he ascends from the heavens, and because of his outfit, which I can actually show you a picture of it because it's in the instructions, because of his outfit, people mistake him for a minstrel. So, yeah, there he is. Or they, he, she, whatever, and that's not what their face looks like, because like I said, you can customize it. That's just what their outfit looks like. But like I said, they mistake them for a minstrel, but then you can change them to like any class later in the game as you want. Same with like your other party members that you like I said, you make them yourself. And that's one of the things that I loved about this game, is that not only can you customize like their face and their hair and everything, but everything you equip them with, from head to toe, their weapons, armor, everything, you can literally see it on them, which is awesome. I feel like it's very seldom that games do that. I mean, well, okay, maybe not, but anyway, I remember like one of the characters I made was this like punk rock cleric girl, because I always have a cleric in my party with the Dragon Quest games, or at least I try to, the ones where you make your own characters. Anyway, and the same with their weapons, you can see that on them too. Like, I think I already said that, but like I made a thief where I gave him claws and stuff. It's so cool. There's a lot of cool monsters in this game, like any JRPG, but I remember a number of them I actually copied for whatever reason. Like, there's a scarecrow with a scythe, and I was like, I'm copying that. I think I actually made a Lego figure out of it too. And where was I? Oh yeah. There's these little side missions you can do, or like side quests where you can get like either money or a special item or something, but one of them, which is actually it's kind of funny, there's like this old guy in a town where he's like sitting in front of a bonfire and he's like, oh, I'm freezing, this fire it's not strong enough, I have nothing to throw into it but my clothes, can you help me out or something? So one of the items you collect for alchemy is, because you can collect items for alchemy to make weapons and armor and whatever. One of the items is cow shit. I mean, they don't use the term shit, but that's what it is, basically. Sorry, it's hot in here. So, that's the item you throw into the fire, and the guy's like, oh my god, that reeks! Oh, stinks to high heaven. Oh, it's kind of warm. It is nice and warm, though. Thanks. That was funny. But let's move on to number 4. It's Final Fantasy IV. Or, the earliest version I remember playing was Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo, because it was called Final Fantasy II here in North America. I think we all know that story. Anyway, out of all the Final Fantasy games I've played, this one is definitely my favorite, for quite a few reasons. For one thing, it's just so many memorable moments, which I'll get to that in a moment, but the music in this game is just, I feel like it's maybe the best in the series, like, at least in my opinion. Like, it's just, the songs are either just very, like, soft and beautiful, or there's songs that are just, like, so upbeat and stuff, and I love the boss music in this game. I think the boss theme in Final Fantasy IV is the best out of, like, all the Final Fantasy games. Boss themes, that is. And the final boss, which, well, he's not the final boss, but he's somewhat the main villain, not to give too much away, Golbez, he's awesome. Maybe not as badass as, like, or devious as Kefka, but he's still pretty cool. He wears, like, all black and gold armor. I'm pretty sure that's him on the cover, even though that's, it's all silver, but that's not the point. There's also a really good cast of characters in this. In this version, there's great illustrations of them, just to show a few of them. My favorite characters have to be Kane, Rydia, Edge, Yang, and Sid. Not all the characters are in this for instructions for whatever reason. Like they left off Scylla and Ted. I mean, I just mixed up the two names. Sid and Tella aren't in the instructions for whatever reason. But that's the like memorable moments of this game. Some of my favorites are the part where you have to defeat one of the major bosses, one of the like elemental fiends. I think his name was Cognazo. I think they changed it in this version, but whatever. I'm not gonna go into details. You're escaping a castle and the doors lock and then the walls start closing, and kind of like the scene from Resident Evil. Oh wait, that was the ceiling. Whatever. The walls start closing in. So the two twin mages, Paul and Porum, sacrifice themselves by each standing up against an opposing wall and turning themselves to stone to sacrifice themselves for the hero Cecil. And another one of my favorite parts is you have to go to a cave to fight a dark elf, even though he looks more like a gremlin, but whatever. He's weak against metal, so he has the whole cave magnetized. It's like this spell that he casts. So you have to unequip all your weapons and armor, making your party into like a bunch of wimps, basically. And you fight this gremlin guy, or elf, whatever, and he kicks your ass, so Cecil's like, oh, I need my sword! So then, prior to this, one of your old comrades, Edward, who's a bard, you found him bedridden, like he's badly wounded, he's sitting in the bed, and he gives you his duplicate harp. And so, he sent, while you're getting your ass kicked by the dark elf, he realizes, like, my friends are in trouble, so he gets out of bed and struggles over to his harp and starts playing it, and then the music echoes through the harp that he gave you, and the elf is like, ugh, the music is just, ugh, and so then it throws him off, he can't cast the spell, so you re-equip all your weapons and armor to fight the elf as he plays the music, even though he transforms into a dragon, but whatever. That was another great moment. And also, one of my other favorites is, there's a part when you have to fight dolls, and it's like, it's almost like eerie merry-go-round music or something, and then, after you defeat them, Golbez shows up and he KOs your whole party, except for Cecil, because he's obviously, like, toying with him. And then, Rydia, who was earlier on in the game, she was swallowed by Leviathan and taken to the world of Espers, where time goes by differently. So she comes back, she's a lot older, and she knows much more powerful spells. So she comes back and helps you defeat Golbez. That's another great part. And another thing about this game is, at least to my knowledge, it was the only Final Fantasy game where you have up to 5 characters in your party at a time. I don't know if any other JRPGs did that, but and this was a cool like remaster of the game. But the only real flaw, I wouldn't call it a flaw necessarily, but they really upped the difficulty with this game. The enemies do a lot more damage, and they're constantly attacking you. You know how with most JRPGs, it's like, it'll be, basically you have your turn where it's like, you plan out your strategy, like, okay, I'm going to have this person attack, this one's going to do a healing spell, heal the party, this one's going to do an attack spell, and then it's like, after you complete your set of commands, it'll like basically go through the agility of your party members and the enemy, and then it'll just like go through them like a pattern or whatever. In this game, this version, that doesn't happen. As you're trying to plan out your strategy, the enemy just keeps pouncing you with attacks, so it ups the difficulty a little, but it's still a pain in the ass. I actually did make it pretty far in this game, despite that. Number 3 is Legend of Dragoon for the PS1. I haven't played this in ages, because the thing with this game, it's such a masterpiece, but graphics-wise, it hasn't really aged well, but that aside, it's such a good game. I remember playing this when I was in, I think it was my sophomore year of high school. We did the Egg Baby project, and I named one of my baby after one of the characters, and somebody, because it was Maru. So because it was like an obscure name, people were like, "Where'd you get that name from?" And I was like, "Oh, it's from this RPG I've been playing, Legend of Dragoon." Like, "Oh my god, I love that game!" This was a pretty unique JRPG because there's almost like action commands with everything. Like when your character attacks, basically there'll be like a square, and then another one will spin around and line up with it. And when it's perfectly lined up, you push the X button. It's either X or square, I forget, because like I said, I haven't played this in years. But and then the character will do like a special attack or something. And it does the same thing for when you use magical spells or when you turn into the Dragoon, which you can kind of see the pictures on there. And this game was 4 discs, but I played through it fairly quickly because it was such a good game. I just couldn't put it down, so I went through the discs fairly quickly. And you only have up to 3 party members. Like any JRPG, the hero Dart is always in the party, but even though I would always like switch it up with characters and stuff, 2 characters that I would pretty much always have in my party were Haschel and Albert, which if you played the game, you know who I'm talking about. And it has such a good story to it too, even though, like I said, I haven't played this in years, but the cutscenes are really cool. There's one on the, which I watch on YouTube a lot. It's when, like, Rose, this character right here, when she has, like, a flashback. Like I said, the graphics are kind of dated, so that's the thing. When people... This game really needs an HD remaster. I'd love to see that. And I follow a lot of nostalgic pages on Facebook, and there's a video that a lot of them have been sharing around, as well as like other pages too, like gaming pages and stuff that show like, it says like these series need to come back, and it shows like a series of old PS1 games. And somebody had mentioned Legend of Dragoon, that this game, they said the same thing as me, like this game needs an HD remaster or something. Somebody made another really good point that what also would be cool is if they made a prequel to this game. Like, I mean, I'd like both. Like a prequel and like a HD remaster. But coming down to number 2, Skies of Arcadia Legends, which this was originally a Dreamcast game, and then it was ported to the GameCube. This is like basically a director's cut, it was on the GameCube, and I think it was on Xbox and PlayStation 2, but I'm not positive. Whatever. But this is definitely one of the best games I've ever played in my life. I've beaten it like at least 3 or 4 times. And that's not, it's one of those types of games where sometimes I just get an urge, like, I think I need to play that again. And basically you're a pirate, an air pirate. You're up in the sky instead of in the ocean. So not only do you have, like, regular battles, like in any JRPG, but you also have, like, ship battles where you fight other ships, as well as, like all kinds of giant creatures and stuff. And unfortunately, this game is kind of expensive, which because it was again back when I was in high school. It was probably like my senior year, which would have been like 12 years ago. This was actually one of the first games I bought for my rented for my GameCube, and within like within a few days of playing it, I was like, I have to buy this. But you travel all around the world in this game, because it's like a mythical world, and there's 6 moons. Each one is a different color, which I'm going to go 100% into details, because then we'll be here all day, but just to give a couple examples, there's a red moon, which is fire and heat, so the land underneath that is all like desert, and then the green moon is like, I think it's life or nature or something like that, so it's all like lush forests and stuff, so there's like different cultures under each moon, and you go to all of them too, which is really cool, and each of them give like different powers, which you use for your weapons and magic and all that, but it's such a good game. This is definitely a must-play game if you can emulate it or whatever, or borrow from a friend, or if you can find it cheap, whatever. And the music is amazing. And there's also like super moves which you can do, which are really cool. There's only like 6 playable characters, so to speak, which it kind of like changes throughout the game, but you also, once Vise, the main character, gets his own ship, you find other characters to be your crew members, and there's actually a way to get them to attack and stuff. It's, like I said, I'm not going into details too much, I don't want to give too much away, but it's an awesome game. Coming down to number 1, Suikoden 2 for the PS1. Now, you might notice the cover looks a little bit wonky. It's because this is actually a ROM hack, because the real game is expensive as hell for whatever reason. Maybe because it's the best in the series. It's another great series that Konami killed off. There was only 5 of these games. The first 2 were on the PS1, 3 through 5 were on the PS2. But this one is my favorite. The goal of most of these games is pretty much the same. It's a JRPG where you literally build like an army so you can recruit over 100 characters. Not that you'll necessarily find them all unless you really take the time, put time into it, or if you just cheat and look it up online. You know, there's walkthroughs on how to do it. And not every character fights either. Some of them they'll do things like run a tavern or an inn at your castle. Some of them will just give you hints for like things to do. Others will play like mini games with you and stuff. But they're still wicked good games. Like I said, this one is my favorite. There's also like giant epic scale battles as well. In this one, you're fighting against an evil empire, or evil kingdom, whatever, that's not necessarily evil, it's just like a long-term war that's been going on for like 30 years. And there's a lot of like, well, it says it right on the back here, experience an epic tale of warfare, magic, friendship, and betrayal. Which there's a lot of like memorable moments in this game too. Epic soundtrack, very epic soundtrack in this game. And there's so many like cool characters in it too, and that's one of the great things about these games. There's characters from this game that are also in the first one. So if you're this game, another game I played in high school because I was like going through like a JRPG fix in high school, and this game had like so many inspirations for me, just like for creative purposes and such. Like it just really inspired me. This is, if you can emulate it, which I'm sure you probably can, or you play like the ROM hack version or whatever, if you're a fan of JRPGs, this is a must-play game. You have to play this at least once in your lifetime. You don't necessarily have to play the first one, but it might help because there's like a lot of stories and like characters, like I said, from the first game that it might make more sense playing this one. And as for the other games, I'm trying to get into the third one, but it's like they changed a lot. So it's like, change is a good thing, but like I said, they changed a lot. If they changed like maybe a little bit, it would be fine, but they changed a lot, so I'm trying to get into it, but whatever. Like I said, this game is an absolute masterpiece. You have to play this game if you're a JRPG fan. So, that's my list. So that being said, what are some of your favorite JRPGs? If they're not any of these, or if you play them or whatever, if there's any other ones that are your favorites, let me know in the comment section below. But, and always, until next time, thanks for watching, everybody.